Today we encounter one of the more puzzling passages in the Haggadah, a passage which actually depicts a series of drashas, of explanations by various Tanaim, various sages in the Mishnah, trying to create new counts of plagues beyond the conventional count of 10 by multiplying by a series of factors derived from biblical passages describing God's punishment, to try to multiply out to yield a higher number of plagues, both in Egypt and an even higher number at the sea. Which really, I think, is a very, very puzzling passage for many. And it's interesting to note that this passage is not actually in all of the earliest versions of the Haggadah. Most notably, this passage, sometimes referred to as the Brisa of Reb Yossi HaGalili, is not found in the Haggadah of the Rambam. However, it is part of our Haggadah, and I think it is necessary to try to understand perhaps what is going on here. And I think that the significance of this piece of Midrash for us is to help us get a better handle on the complexity and the power of the plagues. It's very easy to fall into kind of a reductionist trap of seeing the plagues as just 10 discrete things that happened to the Egyptians. The truth is, the plagues are actually much more complex. I used to sometimes use the example that people who live through a natural disaster don't only grapple, let's say, with a tornado or an earthquake by itself. There are all kinds of ripple effects. The loss of electrical power, injuries that happen to people because of it, the economic drain on people, the destruction of infrastructure, right? All of these things are, in terms of what people go through, are much more powerful than merely to say, we went through an earthquake, we went through a tornado. And I think that this is what the Medrash is pointing us to. To give a very simple example. Earlier in the Haggadah, we discussed in the Pesach that we looked at 2 days ago that deals with the miracles and wonders that God brought as part of the judgment of the Egyptians. One of the things that the Haggadah specifies is the dever, is the pestilence. And a lot of the commentaries ask, well, what pestilence, right? Why are we singling out one plague for special attention? So it's interesting to note that there is an explanation that says this is not isolated to the pestilence, kind of the capital P pestilence, that we're used to thinking about as plague number 5 of the 10 plagues. In fact, the Shibbolei Aleket says that really what it means is that there was disease and pestilence that followed all of the plagues. That all of the plagues, and again, certainly if you think about the different kinds of animals and infestations that came to the Egyptians, or the destruction of the water supply, the idea that all kinds of disease followed in its wake is really quite logical. So I think what this Midrash helps to open us up to do is to realize how complex and terrible the plagues really were. And if we are really trying to understand what happened in Egypt, the idea of the multiplying plagues is to help give us the tools to think about and discuss with the participants in the Seder, what do you think these plagues are actually like, to really get a better handle on what exactly happened in Egypt.